Hello tutors, today we're going to be working on fractions. Students have some experience with fractions. Third grade is actually currently working on fractions in their classrooms. So students should have fractions and the concepts fresh in their mind. So our challenge today is to really deepen their thinking about numerators and denominators. Hopefully by the end of today they will be comfortable with representing fractions using models. So they'll be given shapes and then dividing them up into equal size pieces. The equal is the key word there for our denominator, and then shading in those pieces in order to show the numerator. Students will hopefully be able to describe how the size of the fractional parts is related to the number of equal size pieces in the whole. So if you want to follow along with me on our tutor guide, I'm going to start at the beginning and work my way down. So that first part, when students come to you, you can just reintroduce yourself as always, and then talk to them about parts of a whole and where we see them every day. So give them some meaning as to why we work with fractions and why they are so important. Fractions they begin working on in third grade, and then we build in fourth grade, and they continue to see them from there on. So third grade is their first experience with them. However, they continue to see them for a very long time. Parts of a whole, as far as at your table, you can talk about, let's say you have 3 students at your table today, and 2 of them are boys and 1 of them is a girl. That's 2 out of 3 kids are boys. Another one is glasses. How many of you wear glasses, whether they have them on that day or not? You can say, 1/3 of us wear glasses, or, different things. Any kind of scenario, you can look at your kids and kind of decide where you want to go with the fractions. Then you can talk about where we see fractions all the time. Food is a great spot to start because they are familiar with cutting pizza into equal size pieces. They don't want their brother or sister to get a bigger size piece than they have. So equal size pieces on food is important. Also measuring, we talked about last week, 1/4 inches and how we had to round whether it was up or down according to the nearest 1/4 or 1/2 inch. So there were fractions in our inches, and then time also has it. We say 1/4 past or 1/4 till on the clock. So all real-world examples of fractions, things that you can talk about to get that understanding and the reason for fractions down. So the first thing that you'll do with the kids today in fractions is a reteaching worksheet, just like last week. And so 12-1 is our first one. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So here's 12-1. At the top, just like last week, they have this reteaching section, and you want to really take your time and discuss this. Even if it feels slow for students, you really want to delve into this because this is where the meat and potatoes is. If you look at this halves here, you want to talk about how this line is diagonal and how it could also be horizontal or vertical and still represent 1/2. So as long as we have 2 equal size pieces, it doesn't matter how I split my shape as long as it's an equal 2 halves. Same thing with the 3, and you can go back to the pizza. If I made one of these smaller or one of these bigger, would that be fair if I gave one to my brother and the smaller one to me? No, that wouldn't be fair. We have to have equal size pieces on each one of these. Notice with my fourths how they did diagonal lines as well. You could also do straight vertical and horizontal lines to show the same exact thing and have 4 equal size parts. The 5, the 6, the 8, the 10, and the 12. So you really want to break it down and have those discussions so that they really understand the equal size parts. You might even have them underline this equal parts up here because that's the part that we're really trying to stress today. Okay, then with you, they can go ahead and go through all of this and decide, tell if each shows equal parts or unequal parts. They're just saying equal, unequal, equal on each of those lines. And then name equal parts of the whole, name the actual piece. Okay, so this is 4 equal size pieces. What do we call that when we're talking about fractions? That would be fourths, etc. Number 7 does ask them to use grid paper. And on the back of their paper, they will have this paper here, and so they just need to outline 3 of the boxes there, and then outline each of the lines in the middle to show the thirds there for that number 7. Okay. After we do that reteaching piece, then we're on to some independent practice. So they will have this sheet, and if you follow this sheet along with the tutor guide, The next page has the halves there. So this number 1 correlates with this number 1. This number 2 is this number 2. So for this number 1, you're going to ask them, okay, split that first box in half, and hopefully they'll do one line straight down. If they can do horizontal as opposed to a diagonal, like the example page, that will be better for their understanding. And then for number 2, show them how if we do a half first and then give our half of a half there, that is helpful in order to create our 4 equal size pieces, as opposed to trying to do that first fourth blindly without having that first half done. So doing 4 equal size pieces. Then moving on to thirds, show them how doing the thirds first will help them make the 6 if you do the sixths there. So I have an example in your packet so that you can see an example way. These are of course not the only way to break these boxes into equal size parts, but these will be the simplest for students to understand. Okay, so if you continue to follow that, then the next piece is going to be an independent piece. Then you're going to see how well they've done with what you've taught them so far, or what they've reviewed so far. And they're going to get this piece, and hopefully they can do this piece mostly on their own. You'll be there to guide them. They just need to write whether it's equal or unequal on the first line, and then write whether it's halves, thirds, fourths on the second line. Okay, down here they can use a grid to draw the region again, and they can go back to that same piece of grid paper. They'll have plenty of space on there to show the tenths and the sixths. And you can kind of look at those, just make sure that they have equal size pieces in each of those. And the rest of that I think is pretty self-explanatory. Then we start focusing on numerators. So now we're down here. Then we go to 12-2, and now we're just going to be doing the same thing as far as denominators. Nothing changes, but now we're looking at shading. So again, this is that reteaching piece. So focus on this top part, read all of this through with them, really discuss it, get the meaning to all of it, because this is where their deeper understanding comes in. Then they get to practice a little bit down here, and then they get to practice on this piece as well. So in this one, again, just like the denominator one, this one should be their independent, and you're just kind of there to guide them. So if you walk them through that first numerator page, and then let them explore on this one and really see what they understand. There is a portion here for red and blue rectangles. They're supposed to draw it, so I will leave crayons with you today with your groups. And after that, then we are on to our closure. And I always like you to ask the students, okay, where are we going to see fractions in the real world? You can kind of repeat that conversation from the beginning. And then how will fractions help you in your classes and outside of your classes in the real world? So just applying that, the knowledge that we just learned today in our tutoring time, giving them that reasoning. Then if you do have extra time today, I don't think that you'll be able to get to this, but just in case, I'm putting it in there. You have benchmark fractions and fill the cup. These are very in tune with what we just did. So they give you the example of the clocks at the top. This is a reteaching piece, so you would want to take your time with this top piece, and then they're estimating to see what fractional part. So they would draw a line here and then see if they could make an equal part. They can use their fingers to kind of find that equal part, or whatever they need to do in order to see how that equal size piece would fit, and see what the fraction would be named. And then fill the cup is simply just going through and deciding. Again, you would use the lines and try to break up the cup to see how many equal size pieces you could get in each one of those cups. And then you're just writing the letter on the line over there. And I have the answer key for all of that in your packet. So with that, I think that's it. Fractions, really fun. If you can really push the numerator and denominator vocabulary with them today, that would be great. Thank you so much, tutors.